you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hail at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets' red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave for the land of the free and the home of the brave?
You knew all the words. Unlike some of the professionals.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. How's everybody doing today? Awesome. You know, it's interesting. As I look out here, I see a lot of friends of Jennifer Sullivan. My name is Mike Levine, and I'd just like to open with a few comments about Jennifer. And since I can see I have so many friends here, let me just ask if I can get some agreement from you that it's a breath of fresh air every single time Jennifer Sullivan walks in the room. Can you agree with me on that? It is. Anyone who has ever been anywhere where Jennifer was present, I think that's the first thing you think about when you think about Jennifer Sullivan. She is absolutely a breath of fresh air every single time she's in the room. And isn't that refreshing?
Yes.
It really is. So, you know, the thing that I want to, you know, there's so many things you can talk. I could talk about Jennifer for days. I'm sure I could. But in preparation for this short introduction, the word that I'd really like to focus on is authenticity. You know, when you think of politics, how often does the word authentic come to mind? Exactly, not very often. But here's one thing. Here's the reason why Jennifer Sullivan needs to be the representative to the Florida House in District 31. Jennifer Sullivan is authentic. We know her, don't we?
Yes.
Exactly. Jennifer Sullivan has been preparing herself for this since she was in her early teenage years, and we all know that, don't we? Exactly. So Jennifer is absolutely ready for this job, and I think that's something that we, as her supporters, need to keep in the front of our mind all the time between now and August 26th. Jennifer Sullivan is ready for this job, right?
Yes.
Exactly, exactly. So what is it to be authentic? And I just want to make one little point, and then I'm going to turn the floor over to Jennifer, because we're all anxious to hear from her, aren't we? Yes. Exactly. But you know, the thing is that, well, a couple things. Number one, can you agree with me that Jennifer Sullivan would be an awesome advocate for Florida families?
Yes.
I mean, isn't that the truth? Yes. Exactly, right. And, yeah, let's have a round of applause. Because isn't it important that our representatives do what's in the best interest of families?
Yes.
Exactly. That is so critically important, because when Florida families are doing well, Florida is doing well. It goes hand in hand that Jennifer Sullivan will be a strong advocate for the middle class. And rebuilding a strong middle class, I think we all agree, is a really important thing to do. So as I said before, I could go on and on and on talking about all the wonderful characteristics of this awesome young lady. But at this moment, I'm going to turn the floor over to Jennifer so that you can have what you came here for. Jennifer Sullivan.
Thank you all for coming here tonight. I can't tell you how much it means to me to have my family and friends and supporters here. This is a very exciting time and I couldn't think of anyone else I would want to share it with. Thank you to the students and volunteers who have made this event possible. We would not be here without you, so thank you for hanging balloons and making sandwiches and putting out chairs, and for your hard work, not just this evening, but this entire week, and for all your hard work to come, because we've got a lot of work ahead of us. Last but certainly not least, I'd like to thank my family. Danny, Benjamin, and Emily, my siblings, thank you for all the work you've already put into this race, for being siblings that support me every step of the way, and for being there for me. I love you guys. For Mom and Dad, thank you for instilling in me, first and foremost, a strong faith in the Lord, a deep love of country, and the courage to do hard things. You both have been instrumental in laying the foundation for me to run for state representative, and I literally would not be here without both of you. So thank you. Well, as I announced 3 weeks ago that I was running for state representative, the common thread and question that I've had is, who is Jennifer Sullivan? How did she get here? What has she done? She's young. Has she ever held a job? Who is she? And why would she make a good representative? And so I want to take a little bit of time. And you know what? A lot of politicians and a lot of people running for office start by saying, this is going to be really short. I'm just going to take a couple minutes. Well, I'm going to tell you right up front, it's not going to be really short. Okay? It's not. Because you're here tonight, and I want to tell you a little bit about what makes me me, and a little bit about my background, so that you can walk away from this event and you can say, I know who Jennifer Sullivan is. If you're here for the first time, and maybe some of the people who have known me will learn some new facts. So thank you for joining me this evening to hear a little bit about my background and what I've done and what I plan to do as your state representative. So I moved to Lake County when I was 9. We moved to Dist, and I immediately got involved in a program called 4-H. And being here in Lake County, that meant that you raised livestock. And so I raised some awesome rabbits, let me tell you. And I did that for a little while, and I got to know the area better, and I had a 4-H agent, and her name was Sarah Hensley. And she would see me at the fair and some other events, and she said, you know, 4-H, you can really do a lot more than just raising rabbits. There's a lot of leadership opportunities, there's opportunities to learn about your state government, and I'd really like for you to come to an event with me. And so I gave it some thought, and I said, okay, I'm open to trying new things. And so I went to the Capitol for the very first time. I was about 14 years old, and I went up for 4-H Day at the Capitol. And ever since that day, my life has not been the same. That day, I met with who is now Senator Hayes, but at the time was Representative Hayes. And I remember specifically sitting in his desk and talking to him about being a representative and what it entailed. And I walked out of his office and I said, you know what, one day I would love to do that. I didn't think it would be today, but it's something that really stood out in the back of my mind, and I knew I wanted to get more involved in the process. And so it started in 4-H though. And with 4-H came the opportunity to serve on a number of different leadership councils. And one of the councils I served on was the Community Service Council for Lake County and all of Central Florida. And as the chairman, I had to come up with a community service project. So in the past, a lot of people had done a day of picking up trash around a park or making Valentines for nursing homes, and I had participated in those. But I felt like we could do something bigger. We could do something that would meet a greater need. And so I started looking in the community, what are needs? And upon looking, I found that there was actually a huge need for peanut butter. And so I thought, okay, well, how can we meet this need? Why is there a need? And I found out that a lot of people, especially my age, didn't really realize that hunger is a huge issue really in our backyard. It's not just over in Africa. It's not in third world countries. It's here. It's here in Lake County. It's here in Mount Dora. And their number one most needed item is peanut butter. And so I organized, implemented a peanut butter food drive that went across the entire Central Florida area. And through that, first we found what the need was, and that was peanut butter. And then we provided the solution, which was education about the need and then actually collecting peanut butter. And so through that, we established what was called Peanut Butter Pop, People Overcoming the Problem of Hunger. So what does peanut butter have to do for running for state representative? Well, it actually has to do a lot of things because it gave me the opportunity, one, to work with our local school board, to go to a lot of the public schools in our community and educate them on the problem of hunger. Gave me the opportunity to partner with the Lake County Board of County Commissioners, businesses such as Publix, Second Harvest Food Bank, YMCA, a lot of community organizations that then I began, after Peanut Butter Pop, continuing to be a part of. For 4 years of that project, it went on for 4 years, we collected a total of 14,085 jars of peanut butter for the needy in this area, equaling over 20,887 pounds. Through Peanut Butter Pop, I met a lot of phenomenal people. And some of the ladies that I met were from the American Legion Post 219 in Fruitland Park, and they're here this evening. And they asked me to apply to go to Girls State. For those of you who don't know what that is American Legion puts on an event for 300 girls every summer. And they have to be going into their senior year of high school. So only 300 girls are selected, and it's an application process. And so they had partnered with me with the food drive, and they knew that I was interested in politics, and so they asked me to apply. And throughout the process, I was selected, and I got to go, and it was such an honor. I learned a lot about what true liberty looked like from people who had served firsthand overseas. I learned about the bloodshed to live in a free country and what our American flag truly represents. And I also had the opportunity to run for state representative, and I won. I was one of 119 other girls in the Florida House of Representatives for a week debating the current issues of the day. And I was honored to be selected among my peers as the most outstanding representative at the end of the week. And that's just one example that I had to be a part of the process, to look at firsthand what it's like in the life of the representative. We had a mock constituency base, and we had issues of the day to debate. And that was an incredible opportunity. And so at this time, I'd like you to join me in thanking first the women of American Legion Post 219, as well as their families and others who have served to defend our country and made sacrifices. Thank you, ladies, for investing in me and investing in girls across the state to make for a better Florida and a better future. It's making a difference. The next thing I'd like to share with you, many of you know about, it's called Team Pact. If you're with me very long in a room, you know I'll start to talk about it. And I've been a part of it for over 4 years. I've been working for them for a while as well, and their mission is to train youth to understand the political process, to value their liberty, to defend the Christian faith, and to engage the culture at a time where they typically wouldn't care about such things. TPAC gave me the opportunity to travel the U.S. teaching students, one, how to be engaged in their culture, how to defend their faith, just like their mission statement talks about, but also more about the political process in depth. And traveling the U.S., I got to learn just how special Florida is. And it really gave me more of a love of my community and to be a part of Florida. We have a really unique, special state. And it's somewhere I want to spend the rest of my life. But I think that there's a lot on the line for Florida. And that's just one of the reasons why I want to run for state representative. And Team PAC played an integral part of that. Next is the Lake County Republican Party. In 2008, that was a very important presidential year, if you remember. Our country has taken quite a turn since then. I don't know where each of you were, but I was on the battlefield knocking on doors, making phone calls for McCain-Palin. And that's when I first got introduced to the Lake County Republican Party. And a year later, I was a registered voter and could vote. And then I joined the party, and since then have been involved in the community through that, knocking on doors, working on campaigns, and currently hold a position of the district representative for County Commission District 4. And so the Lake County Republican Party is something that I've been a part of for a while and look forward to over the next month being able to represent as a Republican candidate true core Republican values, because I think that the Republican Party, and I hope you would agree with me, has really strayed from that. And I think that until we get candidates to change the party from within, until we get people to change the party from within, it's not going to go anywhere but down.
Right.
And the Tea Party made an instrumental impact in turning the Republican Party in our community. I was there from the beginning in 2009, and wow, what a turnout we had. And what united us all together were three simple principles that are going to be a part of my campaign, and that's fiscal responsibility, a limited government, and free market solutions. Those are all things that we can unite and get behind. And that's what makes our Florida. Those are going to be 3 components of my campaign. And I'd like to add an additional one to that, and that's the protection of life. Life not just from conception to natural death. That's something specifically with Obamacare that they're trying to take away from us. And that's something that will be a platform of my campaign. Those are some of the organizations and opportunities I've had the opportunity to be a part of, and I thank you for listening. Next, I want to talk about my education. A lot of people have asked about my education, and I am very blessed to be able to say that through kindergarten through 12th grade, I had the opportunity to be homeschooled. My parents made a lot of sacrifices to make that happen, but I know that out of doubt, I wouldn't have had all the opportunities to travel and to be a part of the organizations that I did without that. Something that's unique to homeschooling is that it's a child-centered education. And I think that's something we need more of in Florida, in our public schools, in our charter schools, in our private schools. And that's something that homeschooling does afford. And I think that until we get an education system that's child-centered, not focused so much on the grade of the school. Because if you're just trying to change the grade of the school without changing what the students are actually learning, you're not going to get a better grade. And that's what our education system is for. It's for educating our young people so that they can go out and they can make small businesses and they can prosper and they can enjoy the American dream. Because that's what we're here for. Work history. Now, I'm only 22 years old, and a lot of people think because of that I haven't held a job before, which I find is kind of amusing because a lot more people, I think, need to get jobs younger, because I started working at age 8. And I can tell you that there has been nothing given to me. I remember when it was time to get my first car. And I had kind of hoped that my parents, I mean, they always just said, we're not going to buy you a car, but I secretly hoped, well, I'm the oldest child, maybe I'll get it. That didn't happen. I paid for my car, I paid for the insurance, I still pay for the insurance, and everything else. And you know what? There's something to be said for that. There's something to be said for a work ethic, and for not having everything handed to you. And that's something that I learned first and foremost from my granddaddy. He is no longer with us, but I started working with him at age 8. He was a famous wildlife artist, and he traveled the U.S. doing art shows and selling his artwork. And I remember loading up on Friday mornings, getting all the artwork in the van, and traveling, setting up our big tent and the screens and the paintings, waking up at 5:45 in the morning, getting up, rolling up the tent, and being there all day. And so I got my start with my granddaddy in sales, and also with a really good work ethic. My granddaddy came from a generation that knew what it was like to roll up your sleeves and work hard. He was constantly working. Even on family vacations, he was the one in the kitchen. He was the one fixing the vehicles. And that's a work ethic that my generation needs to see more of. And that's something that I bring to the table, is a work ethic from my granddaddy's generation. After working with him throughout the years, I worked in child development for about 4 or 5 years at a preschool. Next, I moved to the industry of agriculture and worked at a blueberry farm. I then moved to hospitality, and then politics. I worked on over 6 campaigns and interned on a congressional campaign. I also have worked for Team PAC at their national office in Richmond, Virginia for a while. And working for Team PAC was a great opportunity. And I moved back home about a year after working for them. That was a year ago. And just this spring, they gave me an opportunity to move up there and work as Director of Communications for their organization that encompasses over 39 states. And this spring, actually specifically this May, I was considering taking that position and moving back. And as I was thinking of that, as I was praying through that, I felt that it was clear that God had given me roots in this community for a purpose. And I couldn't abandon that purpose. And even though financially it looked very appealing, and it would have been a great start to a career, I knew God had something else for me. And upon looking into it further, that was running for state representative. And that was being a voice for my generation and in this community. So I'm very excited to say that running is what I'll now be doing. And it didn't come without first a lot of thought. I think that a lot of times people that are younger, or older, older people can think that young people can just make a decision on a whim. And I've had some people that have come up to me and said, did you really think about this? Is this something you just decided one day would be a good idea? And I want to share with you, I have spent hours on my knees in prayer and countless hours with individuals asking them about this. I spent all of June and July actually meeting with local business leaders, community leaders, elected officials to giving their feedback. And after an overwhelming feedback of positive support, I announced in August that I would be running. And so that is what I'm currently doing. And I'm running because you deserve a representative who will truly represent you. And my generation needs a leader they can follow. I don't know if you've noticed, but the progressive liberal agenda has completely captured my generation. They have. And until we get younger people who have conservative values, who can pave the way for my generation, they're not going to have anyone to follow. People will follow when they have a leader, and I'm willing to be that leader. And I'm so excited to look around and see all of my friends, and I hope that this encourages you. This encourages you that when someone steps up, there are young people willing to follow and willing to get involved. And there is hope for Florida, there is hope for our country, because there are young people who are coming out of the woodwork and who are getting involved. And that's something I'm really excited about in this race. I'm running because our community needs more leaders with a vision for the future, and our state needs more men and women who know and exercise state sovereignty, will lead based on principle, not power, and who are willing to stand for what's right even when it's unpopular to do so. I'll be the first to admit that I don't know everything about every issue. But what I do know is that the issues will change. But the people you elect, their principles shouldn't change. And when you elect me, my principles won't change. I promise to work harder for you to earn your vote than any other candidate. And once elected, I promise to work harder than any other representative to hear your voice and represent you. I believe that actions speak a lot louder than words. It's easy to say something, it's another thing to actually do it. And that's one of the reasons I'm very excited to announce that after 5 days of walking on doors and an incredible team of volunteers, we have collected over 1,200 petitions to get my name on the ballot, which means it's free of charge because I'm all about fiscal responsibility. Did in 5 days what takes most candidates over 5 months, and that's something to be excited about, because my campaign is going to be different. It's going to be for the people, it's going to be by the people, and together we are going to make a difference. I'm willing to work hard, but I need you. I do. I can't do it by myself. I wouldn't have been able to get over 1,200 petitions by myself. So I want to share with you 3 specific ways that you can get involved and be part of the solution. First is subject matter experts. I know that there's a lot of issues that I'm not a subject matter expert in, but each of you are. You each have your field of expertise. You have a degree, or you have a field that you've worked in a while. You have something that's important to you, something you've invested your time in, and you have solutions to our problems. And I want to hear your solutions. So one, I want you to join me in being a subject matter expert. This next week, I'll be starting the team, and I would love for you to tell me this evening, send me a text, or send me an email on the subject matter that's most important to you, or where you see a need and would like to be part of the solution. I would love to have you on my subject matter expert team. Secondly, volunteer. There are so many ways to volunteer. It's more than just phone calling or stuffing envelopes. We have precinct walking. We have many parades that we'll have going on, and need lots of walkers for that. You can host a party in your home and invite your friends so they have the opportunity to meet me. There's ways for everyone to get involved, and you can volunteer inside, and you can sign up on our website. Third is money. Everything takes money, and a campaign is no exception, but I can tell you that you can contribute with confidence knowing that your money is going to be invested well. And to be honest, I need your investment, because an investment in my campaign is not just giving to this race, but it's investing in your future and the future of Florida. Thank you all for being here. Thank you for being willing to support me. Thank you for walking life alongside me, and for the hard work many of you have already put in this campaign. I am honored to be able to run and to have your support, and I look forward to those of you who I haven't earned your support, earning your vote throughout this campaign. Together, we will win and bring a fresh voice to District 31.
Eat all of our food. Thank you so